All right, Adam, we are back for the first time this season after a loss. The Buffaloes coming in on Monday following that overtime loss to Air Force, and sounds like they've turned the page. They say they have. And any thoughts you have as you went back and watched that game on Saturday?
Well, first off, Colorado's defensive players have to be excited. They don't have to deal with the triple option offense again this season. You spent all that time during camp, the week leading up to the game, with your scout team trying to simulate that, but those guys, that's not what they do, and that's what Air Force does every season, every game. And so I didn't get a chance to go back and watch the whole game, but saw about the first half and just the efficiency at which they run that. And you could tell Colorado was just kind of a step off and a little bit hesitant in time because, you have to be so assignment sound, but if you're hesitant, Air Force is already running downhill by the time you're reacting, and obviously Colorado didn't do a very good job of fighting off blocks in that game. And this week they're going against an offense that struggled so far this season, so maybe that's what the doctor ordered. On the other side, though, Colorado's offense has got a huge challenge going up against Arizona State's defense, which is first in the Pac-12 in points allowed through 3 weeks.
Yeah, second in the country. To your point, the Buffs playing a little tentative defensively. Rewatching the broadcast, Nick Aliotti, the former Oregon coach, was in studio at halftime, and he brought up the point about how it's a different speed preparing for that option and then seeing it in the game. And certainly it looked like that for the Buffs. And you're right. I think they're probably glad they don't have to see that anymore. It's a different Arizona State offense, and we'll obviously get more into Arizona State later this week, but was there anything you took away from this game that you thought, okay, that's encouraging, this guy played well, this guy played well?
Akil Jones, at inside linebacker, he was banged up during camp, and he went out there in the Nebraska game and had a good series, but was kind of winded, you could tell, on the sideline. Maybe he's kind of getting back in shape finally. I was impressed with him among those defensive players. Another point, too, if you're in the Mountain West and you play Air Force every year, you've got guys that are juniors and seniors that have played against that a number of times. I hate belaboring this point, but that's why you don't schedule Air Force if you're CU. So, they have to play them again in 2022, but I think that's a lesson that you don't schedule them again.
That was a tough one for sure. I actually thought Aaron Maddox played pretty well before he got injured, and the other one I wanted to highlight was Delrick Abrams, who I thought struggled early in the game, but he really got off blocks well in the second half and made some impact plays. But there were guys that I thought would be key and make impact plays on defense that we didn't see a whole lot of, like Davion Taylor. I thought would play a bigger factor in this game, and the defensive line, I kind of struggled throughout this game, and didn't handle those chop blocks very well.
Yeah, and then on the offensive side of the ball, we got our first taste of Casey Roddick in there at left guard. Coach Kapilovich mentioned that he was planning to rotate him in that game to begin with, and then it sounds like Colby Purcell was hurt, and that's why he didn't come back in the game. He said he played well for his first start, but it's not good enough. But that's a big man, and if he can get more experience in the system, I think he can be a successful offensive lineman for them.
We saw Chance Lytle in there as well, another big guy. I thought CU was getting kind of manhandled up front, and so the fact they put Roddick in there, Chance Lytle, a couple of bigger guys to try to, push back a little bit. But Coach Cap made the point that, hey, they're big guys, but they haven't played a whole lot, and so that offensive line was just never really in sync. I mean, even Tim Lynott, who's normally steady, had some snap issues in that game. So just overall, the recipe was not very good the other day.
It's not going to get any easier this week, against Arizona State. And we've seen Steven Montez bounce back from bad halves, bad games. That's what I'm looking to see him do this Saturday. Usually he is pretty resilient. One of his worst performances, in my opinion, during his time here. But if he can bounce back, that'll be huge down in the desert.
Not nearly as bad as Washington State a couple years ago in Poland. But I think it was probably at the bottom half of his performances. And he is a guy that does bounce back. I look forward to him doing that as well. One positive, Laviska Shenault finally broke out, had a big game, and that's what we expect to see out of him all year. He can't do it every single game, but I thought that was positive for this offense and for him probably mentally to have a big game like that.
11 touches, I think, is as long as other defenses are continuing to bracket and double him, that's probably a good number, maybe around a dozen. You want to limit those Wildcat reps just because it wears on your body when you've got 4 guys tackling you at the point of attack. But it certainly continues to work for them, and it's something that they're going to have to go to in critical situations. But yeah, I like that 11-12 number for him in terms of touches, because they do have other talent. But he's a guy you got to find a way to get involved.
It might have been close to 14 had Steven been on target the other day. Missed him on a deep route, but certainly the Buffs got to bounce back from this one. And it sounds like they had a good Monday, but we'll see. And anything else to wrap up this last game?
Well, just now they're going into conference play, and there's a lot of question marks with this Colorado team, but there's a lot of question marks with a lot of teams in the conference. So I expect a lot of competitive games, single-digit type of outcomes as we go forward here throughout the conference season.
Well, we'll be back later on this week to preview the game against Arizona State.